Why is it important for us to learn from the history of Israel as a nation? Do we all face various temptations? Let's examine Psalm 78. What happens if we hide the teachings of God from the next generations? My people, hear my teaching. Listen to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth with a parable. I will utter hidden things, things from of old, things we've heard and known, things our ancestors have told us. We will not hide them from their descendants. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, His power, and the wonders He has done. He decreed statutes for Jacob and established the law in Israel, which He commanded our ancestors to teach their children, so the next generation would know them, even the children yet to be born, and they in turn would tell their children. Then they would put their trust in God and would not forget His deeds, but would keep His commands. They would not be like their ancestors, a stubborn and rebellious generation, whose hearts were not loyal to God, whose spirits were not faithful to Him. Was forgetting God's works a big problem among the northern tribes of Israel, led by Ephraim? Do we still fall into a similar trap? The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They did not keep the covenant of God. They refused to walk in His law, and forgot His works and His wonders that He had shown them. What specific miracles of God did the tribes led by Ephraim forget? The miracles He did for their ancestors on the plain of Zoan in the land of Egypt. For He divided the sea and led them through, making the water stand up like walls. In the daytime He led them by a cloud, and all night by a pillar of fire. He split open the rocks in the wilderness to give them water, as from a gushing spring. He made streams pour from the rock, making the waters flow down like a river. Even after witnessing those miracles, did the people rebel against God? Did they speak against God, disbelieve and distrust Him? Do we? Yet they still went on to sin against Him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert. They tempted God in their heart by asking food according to their desire. Yet they spoke against God. They said, "Can God prepare a table in the wilderness? Behold, He struck the rock, so that waters gushed out, and streams overflowed. Can He give bread also? Will He provide meat for His people?" Therefore Yahweh heard and was angry. A fire was kindled against Jacob. Anger also went up against Israel, because they didn't believe in God and didn't trust in His salvation. Despite their grumbling, did God provide bread from heaven and quail to satisfy their cravings? God gave orders to the skies above, opened heaven's doors, and rained manna on them so they could eat. He gave them the very grain of heaven. Each person ate the bread of the powerful ones. God sent provisions to satisfy them. God set the east wind moving across the skies and drove the south wind by His strength. He rained meat on them as if it were dust in the air. He rained as many birds as the sand on the seashore. God brought the birds down from the center of their camp, all around their dwellings. So they ate and were completely satisfied. God gave them exactly what they had craved, but they didn't stop craving, even with the food still in their mouths. So God's anger came up against them. He killed the most hardy of them. He cut down Israel's youth in their prime. Even though God punished some of them, did the rest keep on sinning? Did some repent temporarily, then lie and turn back to break their promises? Do we? But the rest kept on sinning and would not trust God's miracles. So He cut their lives short and made them terrified. After He killed some of them, the others turned to Him with all their hearts. They remembered God Most High, the mighty rock that kept them safe. But they tried to flatter God, and they told Him lies. They were unfaithful and broke their promises. Did Israel test God again and again? Yet was he compassionate, remembering that they were but flesh? Do we? Yet he, being compassionate, atoned for their iniquity and did not destroy them. He restrained his anger often and did not stir up all his wrath. He remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passes and comes not again. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert. They tested God again and again and provoked the Holy One of Israel. They did not remember his power or the day when he redeemed them from the foe, when he performed his signs in Egypt and his marvels in the fields of Zoan. What punishments did God give to Egypt to favor Israel? He turned their rivers into blood, and they couldn't drink from their streams. He sent among them swarms of flies, which fed on them, and frogs, which devastated them. He gave their crops to the caterpillar, and the fruit of their labor to the locust. He killed their vines with hail, and their sycamore fig trees with a flood. He handed over their livestock to hail, and their cattle to lightning bolts. He sent his burning anger against them, fury, indignation, and calamity, a band of deadly messengers. He cleared a path for his anger. He didn't spare them from death, but delivered their lives to the plague. How did God punish Israel's enemies and give them an undeserved inheritance? He struck every firstborn in Egypt, the first fruits of their manhood, in the tents of Ham. Yet he led out his people like sheep, guiding them like a flock in the desert. He led them to safety so they wouldn't fear. As for their enemies, the sea covered them. He brought the people to the border of his holy mountain, which he acquired by his might. He drove out nations before them and allotted their tribal inheritance, settling the tribes of Israel in their tents. Despite God's providence, was Israel disobedient, turning to worshipping idols on high places? Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High God, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow. For they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. When God was angry with Israel for their disloyalty, how did he punish them? God heard and was filled with wrath, and greatly rejected Israel, so that he abandoned the dwelling place at Shiloh, the tent which he caused to dwell among men, and gave up his strength to captivity, and his beauty into the hand of the adversary. He also gave over his people to the sword, and was filled with wrath at his inheritance. Fire devoured his choice men, and his virgins had no wedding songs. His priests fell by the sword, and his widows could not weep. Where did God then choose to put the tabernacle and later temple, and who did he choose to be their king? Then the Lord awoke as if from sleep, like a warrior overcome by wine. He drove his adversaries backward. He put on them an everlasting disgrace. He also rejected the tent of Joseph, and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth which he has established forever. He also chose his servant David, and took him from the sheepfolds, from the care of the ewes, with nursing lambs. He brought him to shepherd Jacob his people, and Israel his inheritance. So he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart, and guided them with his skillful hands. Are we warned that we are also capable of sinning, just like ancient Israel? These things happened to them as examples, and were written down as warnings for us, on whom the culmination of the ages has come. Why is it important for us to learn from the history of Israel as a nation? Do we all face various temptations? You decide.